Alright everybody, welcome! We are starting a Marvel Rivals Season 1 tier list. I know it hasn't been out yet, but everyone makes these after a week or two of playing, and I thought it'd be really fun to put a tier list together of what we think will be strong before we jump into the season, and then compare it about a month later and see how it all feels. So, let's hop into it. We are getting a new character, so I'm going to start with them. I think Sue is going to be really good. I'm going to put her at A tier due to all her shields and whatnot. I think she's going to be very strong. Obviously, new character coming in. We'll see how that feels. I'm not sure how Nettie's. So I think Sue's going to be strong. New character coming in. We've already seen her shields. I think shields are going to be really strong in this meta. Also, there's been a couple of changes, like Psylocke in particular can't dive onto people that have shields, and that automatically makes Sue a lot stronger, right? So I think she'll be up there in terms of strength. I think the characters that are going to jump up in the tier list to high tiers are going to be both Captain America and Storm. Storm's getting direct buffs, and I already think she was really strong. I thought she was like A tier, and people just like did not know how to play around her. I'm gonna put her up at S tier, and I don't think that's biasness happening. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I'm pretty sure Storm is going to be destructive in this next season. I also think Captain America was on the cusp of being incredible. I think people are figuring out how to use him a little bit better. But two, his shield now is going to come out a lot faster. It used to be if you pulled out your shield, you had to wait, I think, 3 seconds before you could pull it out again. And they have reduced that. So I think it's going to be good. Totally not biased. I know. But I think he's going to actually go up pretty dramatically in terms of being a tank. They've also reduced his charge cooldown as well with this new patch, so that'll give him a lot more mobility, which is something that he was really strong at already. His damage is kind of lacking, but having more abilities now are going to be pretty massive. Okay. We're gonna think Hulk is actually considered one of the strongest tanks in the game when you get to bans. I think he's gonna stay around the S tier, A tier area. It was because of his team up, and his team up will still be in the game, but I think he's gonna continue to float around here, A, S tier. I'm gonna leave him at A for now, but he had a 55% win rate at Diamond and above, and what's funny enough is that Diamond and above is where you got bans in, so that means Doctor Strange is getting banned out. Hawkeye and Hela were getting banned as well, which made the Hulk a lot better. Punisher was a character that actually had a 45% win rate. He was around B tier, but had really good counters. I think he's going up to A tier on this patch, and I think that he's going to be quite destructive. Also, Thor as another tank is going to go up to A tier. Thor now is going to be unstoppable while he's using his ultimate. There were a lot of characters that were able to stop him mid-ultimate, and it felt really bad. Like a Mantis Leap could hit him if you had really bad timing. You had Pity, who could drop down her Cocoon on top of him as well, and just completely negate all of his damage. So that is actually a massive fix, which I think will allow him to be a little bit stronger in fights. Jeff the Shark has been buffed. I think he was actually like C tier. I know his ultimate is really annoying, especially in pubs. They made him a little bit more better in healing. More heal body, and his ultimate is less aggressive. It's now a cylinder instead of a giant sphere around the area. So I think he'll be around like B tier, right, in terms of healing. Mantis still A tier, maybe even S tier. She did get a pretty significant nerf to her passive, which allows her to zoom around, right, which made it really hard to lock her down. I think that's going to be enough to bring her down from S tier down to A tier on this patch. Penny, I think, is B/A tier. Because she's bad on offense, but I think she's very good on defense. Adam Warlock, incredible, especially in higher elos. I'm gonna put him in A tier. Moon Knight got a massive buff on multiple parts of his kits, but I think his biggest thing was his ultimate is not gonna be stronger in pubs, so we're gonna put him into A tier. Spider-Man, I think, is C tier. Maybe even garbage. It just like a good Spider-Man can terrorize you, but if you can stop the chaos and control the environment, typically Spider-Man is a losing pick, in my opinion. So I'm gonna leave him down here in garbage. Psylocke has been nerfed pretty dramatically. I would say she wasn't S tier, but she was definitely A tier with her ultimate. But now with shields affecting her ultimate and making it a little bit harder for her just to hit Q and get free deletions, she'll go down to B tier. Wolverine, I don't know how to play this character, but good players, I think, are going to be destructive, and he just got a buff. I'm going to put him up in S tier. Mr. Fantastic, we only know what his abilities are, but he's a relatively tanky duelist that has a lot of CC available to him. and has a reflect mechanic. I think skilled players are going to make this character really, really good. I do wonder how he'll feel in a pub's hands, right? Some like random player picking him up. So I'm going to be a little bit on the passive side here. I'm going to leave him B tier. I could be completely wrong here, but I think the major reason why he'll be strong is his ability to reflect ultimates. And I don't know if players are that good at just doing that on a whim. So we'll have to see. We don't know about the Thing and Johnny yet, so we're going to wait on those. Black Panther has been nerfed into oblivion. In the Chinese meta, he was considered S tier, and some people were starting to pick him up. Like, a good Black Panther had so much survivability that it was really hard to lock him down. But they've reduced that pretty dramatically and put him in the B tier for me. Groot, I think we'll say around A tier. They did buff Black Widow, and she was by far, in my opinion, the worst character in the game. She was here, garbage tier, where Spider-Man's at. I think she's going to move up to B tier. She has a lot more mobility now. They took her 12-second windup of her speed replenishing on the energy and brought it down to 4 seconds. So she only needs to stay around an area for 4 seconds and then gets that energy back so she can start sprinting, and I think that'll do a lot for her. They also made her ultimate a little bit less wonky, so I'm going to leave her around B tier. I think she'll be a great answer to having to break a choke and start like whittling down tanks or even looking for squishies to pick off. Punisher, oh no, Winter Soldier, excuse me. Winter Soldier got a buff. I don't play Winter Soldier, so I can't reliably guess on this one. I think he's a great counter picker, and he has a great ultimate for resets. So I'm going to move him into A tier. I do wonder if that is just too many A tiers here. But I think a lot of characters in this game feel strong. And if you build around them, you can make them all really powerful. What you're looking at with these type of tiers is these characters that you can pick up in any type of meta, right? And do well with. And I think the Winter Soldier does fit in that scenario, right? He can fit in mid-range, he can dive if need be. He's got some decent long range, although it was nerfed in this last patch, but he has a pretty strong gun in general. All you have to do is have aim, right? So I'm gonna leave him in the A tier. Cloak and Dagger got a buff. We'll move her up to B tier. We'll see how she feels. Doctor Strange was the best tank in the game, and he was slightly surgically removed, but I still think he's S tier. He has an AoE ultimate that locks down a lot of people. He has AoE damage. He has a shield. He has a lot of cool micro mechanics. He has a lot of animation canceling. That if you're a Strange player, you are really contesting that front line. And honestly, like putting yourself in a scenario where you can carry the game. Hawkeye's been nerfed. We're gonna hope that he's around A tier. B tier would be the hope that I want for him. But he still has the ability to one-shot people at mid-range, which is always going to be strong, right? Hela has some slight nerfs. I'm going to put her down at B. I think Hela, while she was annoying to play against, once people learned how to play around their tanks and whatnot, Hela was starting to fall off towards the end of Season 0. And to the point where like she wasn't getting banned in most of my lobbies, right? And we were still beating her with characters that she was supposed to stomp on, according to the community. I think Hela's going to fall down to B tier. Iron Man has some reductions, but he's still pretty strong with him and the Hulk team up, right? And if Hulk is in a match, you're going to get an Iron Man. That'll be a great team up to work with. We'll put him in A tier. Iron Fist, B tier. I'm going to put him in C tier. I think Iron Fist is just like... I don't want to say bad design, but he doesn't fit in a team coordination, right? Where he kind of just like all ins the back line, he gets healers, but if anyone's on a microphone and says, hey, Iron Fist is punching people, you all turn around and kill him and you get a free number advantage, right? Can you pop off? Sure. Does he have the ability to do it with auto aim? Sure. Is he a character that like I am going to assume is going to carry me 9 out of 10 games? No, not at all. Loki is incredible. I think Loki's A tier, man. I think all the strategists are A tier. They're all incredible, dude. I mean, even Jeff, I could see being A tier with a good player, right? But we'll leave him in B. Luna Snow, probably still S tier. The devs love her, so she'll always be OP. Magic, better than Iron Fist and pretty destructive. There is a low amount of players playing Magic, but the ones that do play it have a high win rate. Everyone's A tier. I mean... yeah, a lot of the characters, like, I think they did a good job of balancing this game. They really did. I think Squirrel Girl is going to be oppressive. I'm putting her in S tier. Her ultimate change to now bounce around enemies and run them down back and forth. We're going to see how it works in game, but by the sound of it in text, sounds destructive. She can just drop the ult, forget about it. It's going to bounce around, stress out the back line. If you can aim it for the back line and bounce between the healers, they're having to heal each other, which means you can kill the tanks. I think Squirrel Girl was on the cusp of being really strong. Her ultimate was relatively weak. You could just jump over it in Season 0, and now it's effective. I think she's going up. I think she's going to be really strong. She's really good at killing people that do that death ball, right? She was already really good at that. And the only tank that like really stopped her was Doctor Strange. And he got some slight nerfs too. So I think we're going to be good. And like, yeah, tunnels, she'll be great. For real. Magneto, I love Magneto, but he just pairs in comparison to the other tanks in this game. I don't know if I'm sleeping on him, but I'm putting him down on C-Tank. I think what really makes me hate Magneto is that his shields that he has share a cooldown. So you either shield yourself or you shield a teammate. And that's it. And then he has a weird like auto attack. It's like a mid-range auto attack. Doesn't have that far of an attack. His ultimate is great for shutting down like spammers like Punisher or Star-Lord, but he just ain't it to me. Namor is actually really good. A tier. Rocket, I think Rocket's gonna be S tier. I think with tanks going up in this patch and getting a little bit stronger, and his healing going up just by 10, which is AoE, by the way, I think having the ability to respawn a teammate makes every single fight a 7v6, right? As long as Rocket doesn't die, someone else dies and they come back. And so you get picks on people, but the picks mean nothing, right? At all. It's really nutty to me. Then on top of that, with the Punisher and Winter Soldier both getting some decent buffs this patch in terms of power, like he has the team up with him to give them infinite ammo. He's S tier, man. He's so good. Wanda, I'm actually really curious about, because I thought Wanda had a good spot in the meta that a lot of people kind of ignored. Like if you put these two together, these two move up into A tier with their team ups, but they're making Wanda do a little bit more damage consistently, but she burns tanks less, which I wonder if that's going to be okay. You might see Wanda trying to dive the back line and play around their shifts, but we'll see. I'm gonna leave her in B tier for now. Star-Lord is S tier. I think people are sleeping on Star-Lord, and we're in Season 0 as well. His iframes are incredible. His ultimate is wonderful. He has an incredible adaptability with his E button. It's the one where he spins around and shoots people. He can either A, burn down tanks with it in the front line if you're playing a front-to-back fight, or he can sit back by his healers and protect them against divers just by hitting E, and they're all shots at hit, right? So I think Star-Lord's going to be S tier, and I think as people learn the game more, he's going to continue to be up there. Venom has been buffed as well. Venom was really close to being a really good tank, but suffered at high MMR because people know how to focus, and his cooldowns were hurting just slightly. They've given him a little bit more tankiness and a little more damages on his ultimate, so I'm going to give him an A. And then these two are kind of floating around. We'll see them in about 4 or 5 weeks. But this is it. What do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy? I'm making shit up? Do you think I put too many people on A list? Or do you think this might be a good setting for where the tier list is in a few weeks? We will check back in about a month. We'll see where they all are. I can't wait for my girl Storm to show you all that she's incredible. And we'll go from there. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.